Hi, I'm Maya, and this is my project on bread fermentation, where I developed a set of sensors to monitor the optimal point of rising for sourdough. So even before the pandemic, I've been drawn to bread baking as a staple food with great simplicity. And sourdough in particular has only 4 ingredients: flour, water, salt, and starter. The starter is a slurry that contains wild yeast and bacteria, which is a more varied mixture compared to commercially purchased monoculture yeast. Sourdough has a range of health benefits. It supports healthy blood sugar levels, it's easier to digest, it has a naturally long shelf life. However, baking bread at home with starter is unpredictable. Existing measurement systems are inconvenient, unreliable, and expensive. The big question is, how long to leave the dough to rise before getting ready to bake? Not enough time, and the bread will be dense and underflavored. Too much time, and the gluten network will be too fragile to support the trapped gases, leading to poor rise in the oven. The right amount of time depends on a wide variety of factors, which makes it hard to judge between different recipes and conditions, even for experienced bakers. This is where the dough lid comes in. It's designed specifically for home baking, where it can continuously monitor a single vessel, and the implementation is intended to be flexible to work with any container by simply sitting on top as a cover. It features low-cost sensors for monitoring distance, temperature, and CO2 produced by the yeast, and it'll give you a clear decision based on these real measurements. Here you can see a diagram of the system on the left, and then a photo of the existing prototype I built on the right. So in the algorithm, the distance and CO2 measurements are filtered and passed through transfer functions, and then those results are combined with weighted voting to come up with a prediction of the state of the dough. This process is continuously repeated throughout the time that the dough is rising. Based on literature for the purposes of these initial tests, I categorized well-proofed as 30 to 50% expansion by volume, and this was verified with visual measurements based on video recordings. Early trials have shown great accuracy with an average of 86% accuracy across the full duration of 3 tests, as you can see in the graph on the top right. On the bottom right, the graph shows the predicted versus the actual state of the dough throughout one test run. You can see that there's good agreement, although in that particular test, it tended to underpredict the final state. On the left is a confusion matrix showing the percentage of predicted and actual states across all the tests. There is some confusion between the well and overproofed states that could be tuned in the algorithm, but overall this performance is very promising. Now we can take a look at the demonstration of the system. On the left is a plot of real data from one of the test runs that I'm going to replay in MATLAB. And on the right you can see an accelerated video of the actual dough and the sensor. And those green dashed lines on the image show the zone that we consider to be well-proofed. So we'll be able to watch these both together to see what the sensors are showing combined with what's actually happening. So in the plot on the left, you can see distance, volume percentage expansion, and temperature shown on the left axis, and then the concentration of CO2 is shown in orange on the right axis. You can see in the first hour the distance measurements take a while to settle due to the simplified Kalman filter that's been applied. And on the right we see the dough slowly starting to rise. The CO2 production sees an initial plateau around the 2-hour mark, but then it'll start to rise later, and now we see the volume expansion coming in, and the actual predicted volume expansion doesn't start until around 4 hours, which is a little later than what's shown in the video. So now we're in the well-proofed zone. You can see a steady volume prediction rise, and the CO2 production is picking back up again. And then as it comes out of the well-proofed zone, a bit more error in the volume prediction, but the dough is continuing its steady increase. To end off, I did a quick rendering to show you what the product looks like in my head. Maybe someday you'll be able to just pop the lid on top of your dough and get a notification on your phone when it's ready to bake. Thanks for watching.